Welcome to vintagesf. I'm Richard Rempel, and today I want to talk about a book that was recommended to me, a book that I found in an omnibus I already had from SciFi Press. The book in question is Fredric Brown's first book, What Mad Universe? Here, let me show you some of the covers from the original publication. What Mad Universe? What a great title, by the way. What Mad Universe first came out as a short novel in Starling Stories in September of 1948. The cover art is for the story itself, and it's by Earl Burgee. And then in 1949, it came out in hardcover from E.P. Dutton. There's no credit for the cover artist, but wait till you get a load of the author photo. This might be one of the best science fiction author photos I've seen. If we expand out, it actually talks about items from the story, saying this is not an Ark spy and it's not even a Lunan. This is only Fredric Brown, author of What Mad Universe. What an amazing photo. What a good sport. I wonder if it was his idea or the photographer's. Then in 1950, Bantam Books published the first paperback. The cover was by Herman E. Bischoff. By the way, every cover I'm showing you is an accurate representation of the story. So when you see a character who appears to be in a green bathing suit, that is the way it happened in the story. We'll get to that. And then in 1951, there was a hardcover edition published in the UK. The publisher was T.V. Boardman. Once again, they used the author photo from the original American publication. I really like the cover art from T.V. Boardman. The artist is Dennis McLellan. In 2002, SciFi Press published Martians and Madness, the complete SF novels of Fredric Brown, and the first one within this omnibus is What Mad Universe? The cover image for this omnibus is by Bob Eggleton. Martians and Madness is a companion volume to From These Ashes, the complete short SF of Fredric Brown, once again from SciFi Press. By the way, if you don't know SciFi Press, SciFi stands for New England Science Fiction Association. They do some great work in collecting the work of authors, vintage science fiction authors, and presenting them in these books. In that way, they keep their work alive and in print. Once again, the cover art is by Bob Eggleton. So in 2 volumes, you have all of Fredric Brown's science fiction work. Now, he was a great author of many other genres as well, especially mystery. But that's a story for another time. But today I want to talk about What Mad Universe? I have a viewer from Germany who recommended this book to me. He sent me an email telling about his experience, and it was so compelling, I decided I was going to read it right away. It's a short novel. It seems like this novel is an homage to fandom of the 1930s and 40s, and it's a send-up of the magazine's editors and writers of that time as well. We also take a look at some of the tropes of that time, from scantily clad space girls to BEMs, bug-eyed monsters, and your captains and heroes of wars against aliens. The novel starts with a tragic accident, a rocket that is meant for the moon, the first time it's gone to the moon. It has employed within it technology that will set off a large electronic flash when it reaches the moon so people can realize that it has made it, that you could see it from Earth. But this rocket has fallen back to Earth, and it happens to fall into an area in the Catskill foothills where a publisher of magazines has some people over. The resulting flash kills 12 of them, or at least presumed. One of them, who was right at ground zero, is named Keith Winton. He's an editor of science fiction magazines. There are no remains for him. And, of course, he is our protagonist. He has been shunted off into another universe, a mad universe, a universe where all the things that happen in pulp magazines have actually happened on Earth. In the early 1900s, there's a divergence, a discovery of how to transport things cheaply through space. And of course, now they find out that there's aliens. Lunans, people on the moon, people on Mars and Venus. These aliens are very similar to the pulp aliens that we see from the 1920s and 30s. And then there are aliens from outside our solar system, Arcturians, arcs as they're called, and they are looking to destroy humanity. In this interstellar war, of course, there are heroes and space girls, sometimes space girlfriends. And I think you can imagine they're dressed just like the ones we find on pulp magazine covers. Now, although there is a divergence into this pulp magazine universe, a mad universe, Keith Winton still recognizes many people and places and things. He has to figure out what are the differences in this universe. How can he survive here? Will his love interest from his own universe be here, and could he connect with her? Well, it turns out she's a space girl, and there's a very funny sequence as he chats with her about how she's dressed. Let me just read that for you. That costume, what is it? Do you wear it all the time? Of course. Why? I mean, other women here? She looked at him in bewilderment. Not all of them, of course. Only a very few, in fact. Only the space girls. Space girls? Of course, girls who work or have worked on spaceships, or ones who are fiancés of spacemen. Being Doppel's fiancé. Doppel is the Terran hero in the war. Being Doppel's fiancé would entitle me to wear it, even if I hadn't done exploring in space, on leaves of absence from Borden. But why? He floundered. I mean, is it so hot in a spaceship that such an abbreviated costume is necessary? Or what? I don't know what you mean. Of course it isn't hot in spaceships. Mostly we wear heated plastic coveralls. Transparent plastic? Naturally. Mr. Winton, what are you getting at? He ran a hand through his hair. I wish I knew. The costumes, transparent plastic, like the covers on surprising stories. Why, of course. Why would cover pictures like that be put on surprising stories unless we really wore such costumes? So this send-up is a lot of fun, and we do have an arc in Keith Winton's story. Will he be able to find his way through this mad universe? Is there a way back to his own universe? And is there a really good explanation for these multiple universes with a universe that is a pulp magazine universe? Fredric Brown actually does a good job here. This is a fun story, and not just a parody. It actually circles back onto being really a science fiction story. Of course, it is of its time, and it's making fun of some of the things of its time. I found it to be fun and refreshing. I give What Mad Universe 8 out of 10. It's a good read. If you've never read Fredric Brown, I think you owe it to yourself to read some of his short stories or short novels. My friends Ira from SF Words of Wonder and Matt from Science Fiction Reads have looked at the best of Fredric Brown. I'll put a link to that video in the description of this one. So until next time, keep reading.